Oga Police. No worry, I see you. You know you can do the right thing, right? You know you can do without that bribe. You know you don't even have to harass that young man because he is properly dressed. And you think he's a Yahoo boy? You don't even have to assault that citizen whom you have sworn an oath to protect. Yes, we understand that the pay is not good enough to take you home. That you are still wearing a uniform that you bought with your own money 5 years ago. It's no news that the government has not done enough by you. We feel your pain and we wish things could be different as we continue to call on government to wake up to their responsibilities. We want the police to be our friends, just as it is boldly stated across the various police stations nationwide. And from mainland 98.3 FM, we implore you to do better. We love you and we support you always.
A very good evening to you. Welcome to the Situation Room, live from mainland 98.3 FM, the sound of Lagos. And I hope your day is going well. Well, today is Tuesday, and today is the 4th day of the month of March 2025. And I want to especially welcome you to the Tuesday edition of mainland 98.3 FM. It's got so much for you to celebrate your loved ones, especially the women in your life. So this week, all the way from Monday, we've had constant mentions of programs or special mentions for women that have trailed the blaze, that have taken the leadership, responsibility. Nigerian women, African women, women of glory. Along the line, you'd get to hear, programs that pays special tributes to women, especially Nigerian women. That the current, DG of NAFDAC, Professor Adéyẹyè, you get to hear, special recognition messages for those individuals. I mean, these are the people that have constantly, broken the ceiling and they'll move away from the restriction of what it used to be for a very long time now. I mean, it's a side by side. We move, we win together, we lose together. We said deliberate about is prioritizing the boy child over the girl child. My father, an investment for him than me. I would just leave and go and start family and be paying royalty to another family, but he would be receiving royalty. And we used to make jokes about that. It's just basically about how much the gender conversation had grown over the years. And it's not just in the area of politics, even in the world of sports. I remember yesterday evening on Sports Cruise, Agbatomi and I were talking about the Women's World Cup. There was a time where when women are playing football, you can barely see up to 5,000 people in the stadium. Now, watching the game. I mean, it's the last North London derby between Arsenal and Tottenham Hotspur. They had to move. Things are changing. I'm gonna have those days where they tell you that a certain profession is restricted to the men or to the boy child. Go into the fashion design. Go into the field that the man is thriving. There's a woman that is even doing better than the man. So we celebrate every woman, especially as we are continuing to International Women's Day week on mainland 98.3 FM. We are celebrating action in respect to protecting the girl child and making sure that education is not a privilege, it's a right, whether you're a boy or you're a girl. Welcome to the show today. My name is Oᴑᴜ. And by the way, if you have anything you want us to say about the women in your life, your mothers, your sisters, your wives, your aunties, you have to follow mainland 98.3 FM on all our social media platforms, facebook.com/mainland FM, on TikTok, mainland FM. Go there and drop the picture and the caption your picture would be on our social media story for 24 hours. We're helping you celebrate the special people in your life. So you have to follow us and drop your comment or drop your post for us so that we can also help you celebrate the beautiful women in your lives. Well, you're welcome to the show today. I'm talking about that moment where you have to highlight the odds against the girl child, and then find a way to make sure that they are not just supported traditionally, but laws are also made that protect the girl child. I was reading something about India a couple of years back, and there's this whole idea. Okay, maybe we shouldn't go into that. I could bite in, much into our time on the show today. Bryce Adams Atta joins me on the show today because it's a Tuesday, and this is the first Tuesday of the month. So it's always a pleasure to host him every last Tuesday and the first Tuesday of every month, except of course we have to, maybe it's not available, or we have to borrow the Tuesday from him to attend to other things. But of course it's a privilege to have him back to back. He was here also last week, and last week we focused on the entire outburst of the former governor of Kaduna State on national TV a day prior. The interview he gave, talking about President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, talking about the lack of internal democracy within the party, the All Progressive Congress, and all of that. Today on the show, we're going to be looking at a very sensitive topic. When I made the post earlier today, I got quite a lot of messages. Oh, this is a sensitive topic. Are you sure you can handle this? Not like can I handle it, but the question is, there could be some clapbacks on this one. And I'm like, hold up. First off, education is a right in this country, as entrenched by the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So, that I'm getting educated is not a privilege. That I'm getting educated does not exactly mean, if you don't get educated, it's because you're a girl, because you're a boy. Okay. The state governors are shut down, and the questions start flying up. I saw the message of Khan, that's the cut down the schools for 5 weeks because of Ramadan. And so I started digging out, and then in my research this morning, I found out that there are 8 different people that have been exempted from participating in the Ramadan. First is the sick people. Second is the travelers, and if you are traveling, your journey has to a commitment, so you may not be comfortable for you if you are driving long distance and then you're fasting and all of that. Then people that are also menstruating and postpartum women, they must also have to make up for the days they missed after the Ramadan. Pregnant women and breastfeeding women, then those that have mental illness. And this is the point that involves you and I the most, and probably the reason why we're focused on this topic on the show today. The children. Fasting is only mandatory for adult Muslims who have reached puberty. Children can be encouraged to practice fasting in preparation for adulthood, but are not at the age people. But the question is this, and why we decided to open up this conversation is this. In the world, now in Nigeria, we have 18.4 million out of school children. And out of those will be primary school. About 22.3% of them went to primary school. They didn't go to secondary school. And then the other percentage. And out of that percentage, about 61.7% of them are girls. That's the girl child syndrome. It's a bigger problem on its own. Then pull it down. 1 out of every 5 out of school child in the world is a Nigerian. And out of these 18.4 million out of school children, about 63.2% of them are coming from the northern region. And this is not, an attack on any region. It is just the fact that is available on the public domain. So recently, the federal government earmarked about 100 billion to encourage children to program is more in the north, because they are trying to make sure that they take away the kids from the streets and find them or give them some reasons to go to school. At least you know that if you go to school, you are assured of. I've said that for 5 weeks, we're closing down the school. Are there legal implications to this? Why are you closing down the schools? The banks are running, those states are running, so people are still going the Ramadan, but then children can't go to school. Close down school. The position of some of these governors, and I'm trying to understand. Maybe my guest is my go-to person, and at the end of the day, we'll always find a way around it. 5 weeks. And then there's Bauchi State also got involved in it. When you saw these children running into almost the street, some of them are housemaids, some of them are sleeping.
The one that kept us in this backward situation, just that particular region that is practicing Muslim all over the world, even in Saudi Arabia. I've not seen, or in Malaysia or any months, for the purpose of politics. It has a political undertone, because if you look at the whole federation, and the constitution say that no state shall concern post-1 basic education until. So by argument of the government to create an enabling advanced education out of primary legislation and the law that regulates, so is a right, is innate, cannot attend, sure that this basic education are well provided for. Saying that in this 21st century, from the beginning, ab initio, the intention, president, the exceptions of who the law say a child cannot fast. So by all standards, they have stipulated the 5 exceptions to who can fast. 8 thereabouts, and a child there is also inclusive in that categories. So by all standards, of what interest you stand to protect now? Because you do not have any reason to let them stay back at home, because they are not even supposed to fast. They are exempted from fasting because at that age they cannot withstand and then stay the whole day without eating thereabout. So of what point and lift the ugly intention behind the whole situation, so that will not narrow it down and make it look like it's a religious factor. I think it has the political undertone, and we are yet to know about that political interest.
Okay, Barrister Adams, at the moment this issue came up, by the way, Katsina State is also included. So it is Kano, Kebbi, Bauchi, and Katsina State. Those are the 4 states, involved. When this issue came out, it was Murik that first spoke, and then Khan also released a statement. So let me read the statement of both religious. The Christian Association of Nigeria has issued an ultimatum to the governors of Bauchi, Katsina, Kano, and Kebbi states, demanding the reversal of their directives mandating a 5-week closure of schools for the Ramadan fast. Khan described the move as discriminatory and a violation of the right of non-Muslim students, warning that it could pursue legal action if the orders are not reversed. In a statement issued in Abuja by the president of Khan, Daniel Oko, he criticized the policy highlighting children. Education is a fundamental right and the bedrock of every progress, according to the Khan president, Daniel Oko. And he goes on to say that the closure of schools across this state, ranging from primary to tertiary level, for an estimated period of destruction, lacked transparency and failed to involve broad consultation with stakeholders, including Christian leaders, educators, and parents. Policies impacting diverse population, Muslim, Christian, and others, demand transparent, inclusive dialogue with parents, educators, religious leaders, and school proprietors. That is the position of Khan, according to the president of Khan. Now, the Muslim right concern has berated Khan over the latest criticism of the closure of schools during the Ramadan in the 4 northern states. The Murik director, that's Professor Ishaq Akintola, gave this statement and said that Khan is exhibiting double standards, such that it encouraged a breach of rights of Muslims who are in the majority of the southwestern states, while pretending to protect the Christian children who are majority in the north. Professor Ishaq went on to say that 4 northern states of Bauchi, Katsina, Kano, and Kebbi have extended the closure in their state to give Muslim students a stress playing the role of the middlesome interloper in the affairs of the Nigerian Muslim. Firstly, Ramadan is completely Muslim issue. It involves no other faith. Khan should stay out of this. That is the position of Murik. I mean, it's obviously giving a religious banter issue, but I'm not going to get involved in that on this show with you. My own concern is the effect of this closure. 44.7% of the population of out-of-school children in Nigeria are from those 4 states. Statistics is here for every one of us to see. So if you choose to, in a situation where you're trying to literally beg people to come to school by offering them incentives, homegrown school feeding program, you feed them twice a day when they get to school in the morning and when they're about to go home, you feed them. You have a lot of issues, free education, free books, just to encourage them to go to school. Then you decide to close down this school for 5 weeks. How much of a setback is this? And do the political class that make these decisions, do they think of the consequences of some of these actions, Barrister Adams-Atta?
Yes, these people don't even think about the outcome of whatever that may likely spark up at the end of the day, because the Ministry of Education, they are saddled with the responsibility to ensure that a well-detailed and comprehensive calendar is crafted or drafted, alignment or realignment in the calendar right now. So if you decide to cripple the growth of education in your environment, definitely, directly or indirectly, it will affect the productivity of the kids around that particular state or in that WAEC thereabouts. How are they going to meet up? Because WAEC is not just narrowed down to Nigeria, and they don't care. The presumption is that the syllabus is tailored towards the same purpose all over the federation, and then you are there, you are lacking behind for over a month thereabout. I see 5 weeks is over a month thereabout, and then you go and close the whole academic calendar for like a month, whereas it's 4 months or 3 months that is
per term
thereabouts, and then you close the whole entire 1 month. How are you going to correlate it with the intention of the maker of the calendar and the purpose to which the purpose of the education is being set up? So this is a question that people have been asking. I don't want to delve into the religious banter between Khan and then the other people. I'm interested in looking at it from the legal part, because of the fact that the provisions of the Constitution is clear, and it's Section 1 of the Constitution. And any other law that runs contrary to the provisions of the Constitution shall be declared null and void. That is Section 1. Section 10 of the Constitution say that no state shall adopt a state religion. So you don't give an impression. The purpose of that provisions of the Constitution, Section 10, is that no state governor should give an impression that we are of so faith, we have that faith. Is highly prohibited. And then Section 18 of the 1999 Constitution say that it is a duty of the government to ensure that basic foundational education should be provided for every child. That's what Section 18 of the 1999 Constitution is saying. And then Section 15 of the Child Right Act say that the child is entitled to education. So all these laws, inclusive of the provisions of the Constitution, they are not there as a matter of cosmetic affair. They must be strictly obeyed. Not that you go on the frolic on your own and then you start making decisions that run or take or put in on board policies only, and then condemn it that other faith or other religion, they are affected by that decision. If you want to narrow it down and make it narrow down to your particular religion, you can as well make a pronouncement by saying all schools of our faith, we say that for the purpose of this fasting period, we advise that you close down for the next 5 months or 5 weeks thereabouts. For that, because of they have the same faith with you, bound by that religion, whether you sign up to be a pagan, it's just like that. Any decision you go there to make, the same thing with what is obtainable in the religious faith. If you want to submit to be a Muslim, you are bound by the Islamic dictate and the procedure. If you want to go for the Christian faith, you are bound by it. So you are not exempted from what is being put on board. But let us not give impression like it is now a particular state is now of a particular faith is wrong under the provisions of the Constitution. So we frown at that seriously, and then I join big wigs and then other.
Giving us different instances, you've brought up the issue of the Child Right Act, You raised that section 15 of it that supports the conversation of the education, the section 14 of the Constitution, the section 18 of the same. All of these obviously, gives education as a right to me as a child. Now, is this an infringement on my rights to go to school? I mean, let's get it straight, Barrister Mzoiļsn, and to everyone listening to the show today. This is not an attack on any religion. This is not an attack on any state. This is not a political or a party conversation. This is strictly a question of clarification of what the law says and put it side by side to the reality of what we have on ground. Let me quickly drop that so that when the calls start coming in, there's not going to be conflict of interest here. I'm a Christian, and by virtue of whether by birth or by relocation, I find myself in Bauchi State. I'm schooling in Bauchi State, and my child is going to school, and I'm not fasting for 5 weeks, but my child would have to be at home for 5 weeks because the directive of the government. Is that an infringement on the right of my child to education, and can that be pursued?
Yes, the parents can sue the government because it is the parents that are the guardians. Because as a child, you cannot sue. You don't have the capacity in law to sue. So it's your parents or your guardians at that particular period who pay your school fees that can sue and take up your fundamental right. You can sue and ask the court or urge the court to direct the government to recall that decision that run contrary to your fundamental right. You can even sue for damages, but not you as a child, as a person. You sue through your guardians or your parents, as the case may be. So the law, God forbid, for the provisions of the Constitution not to be enforceable. They are there to guide us in our day-to-day activities. They are there to regulate all aspects of our government vis-a-vis Nigerians. So these people are not operating in isolation of what the law have put on board. They must submit to the provisions of the Constitution. They must submit to the provisions of the laws of the land. Yes, I agree that the governor and the commissioner of those states, they have the exclusive power. They have the exclusive power to declare public holidays on certain purposes.
But it's 5 weeks public
holidays is different. It should not exceed a day or 2 days, or except in where there are war, the emergency for safety purpose, it can get to a week or thereabout or something. So, but making it 5 weeks is what literally I don't agree with them. Nobody on earth, because even you can't be a pope more than what?
More than the Catholic.
Yes, it's not possible. We have a nation all over the world where this religion emanated from. Even in that country, they have not had that a public holiday have been declared. A public holiday, or what is it called? A closure have been declared for about 5 weeks for primary school, secondary school, and then you shut down the system. It's unacceptable. I don't want to delve into the whole religious background. I want us to narrow it down to what the law puts on board. The law say that you are entitled to an enabling atmosphere for the purpose of your education, and by that, government is beckon on the government to create this atmosphere and then even pay your school fees at that foundation level. And that's why you see that most of the states in the federation, you see that governments have started paying for free education and everything, because governments are now realizing from their slumber. It was not like that before for some years now, but government is now saying that, okay, let us comply with the provisions of the Constitution. But I don't know where this who is the architect of this decision. Somebody started, and then the other 4 states now queue. Very soon now it will extend to about 10 to 15 states in the federation. So it's so terrible, and it's a bad decision, highly prohibited under our laws in Nigeria.
Okay. What does this say to you about the reflection of the Nigerian state? Barrister Mzoiļsn, Nigeria is supposed to be a secular state where I'm a Yoruba Christian. I can live in Jigawa as long as I perform my statutory duty, business, I'm earning my money, I'm surviving. by privilege, which I count it a big privilege, I've stayed in about 6 northern states in the last 11 years of my life, Barrister Adams. I've stayed in Kano, I've stayed in Bauchi for a while, I've stayed in Borno State for 3 months, I've stayed in Jos for about 5 years, my NYSC, my postgraduate, everything. So I've had that privilege, and there had never been a time where I've been discriminated, maybe once or twice, instances and all of that. But I mean, I've had a larger share of some good memories in those areas. So I feel like, yes, I can live in secular states. That means that we should respect everybody's religion. Nobody is a second-class citizen in any state in the country. Whether you're Yoruba, should feel like I'm a Nigerian. Does this give a reflection of the fact that we are not exactly who we think we are? Okay, let me put it this way. During the Lent, that's the Christian fasting, can governor of Lagos State, for instance, just wake up and say all schools should get shut down for 5 weeks because of Lent, because of Christian fasting? Does this give you a reflection of the fact that we need to go back to the fundamentals and fix the fiber of this country in terms of our level of tolerance? Because I've seen quite a lot of opinion on these issues, even from the people that you and I both know, public spaces, just saying about it, and clear these doubts from my mind that this is void of any religious or political coloration on that.
I think, like we said when we started this conversation, we need like a tribal or a religious issue. Looking at it from the legal parts is what is important. When you lace it or you garnish your points from the legal parts, it will stand. Because at this level, I don't see any relation to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. That is my Bible and Quran once it comes to government regulation. So we are only praying that we get it right and then comply with the provisions of the Constitution. If you are talking about religious affair, it is something that ordinarily should be a personal matter. It's a relationship between you and God in heaven. But unfortunately, there is no way you can practice it without interfering or having a dealings with somebody thereabouts, directly or indirectly. And that is why you see that in the course of you practicing yours, it will have bearing or effects on another person. But our ability to know that religious is a personal affair and not something we must kill ourselves over. Because if you say that you have a particular faith, also know that another person is also of another particular faith. And that is why you must, as reasonable as possible, narrow down yourself to the dictates and to the practice of what you have signed up for. Is a contract between you and God. But however, that contract, you practice it on earth here, you follow the dictates of God, so that you don't also infringe on another third person fundamental rights. These rights are absolute. We all have a right, pursuant to chapter 4 of the 1999 Constitution. In this part of the world called Nigeria, they are foreign religion. We have abandoned our domestic religion over the years. And if you see some other parts of Middle East who claim, or the Western world who are principal owners of this religion, the way we practice it is not the way they practice it. We have diluted our own with selfish interests, discrimination, unnecessary political interests. As I have been saying it, and I will continue to say it, what is happening and what you can rightly see now is politically motivated. Because you cannot tell me that that particular region is where the Muslims are alone all over the federation. And that is what we should look at, and not making it look like it's a religious affair. But although you cannot take out the religion out of it, because the pronouncement was made pursuant to an existing assignment. See, it's a period, something is happening within 30 days, and then pursuant to that, a pronouncement was made because of that fasting. So whether we like it or not, But we must try as much as possible to be reasonable and fair in such a way that we look at it from the legal aspect, because some other people rights are affected. Some other people rights who are of different faiths with the particular faiths on board right now, they are affected. So we must be our brother's keeper. As it's happening to you today, it can happen to them, or the reverse may be the case tomorrow. So I literally do not agree with the policy and the whole procedure to which the pronouncement was made.
Okay, Barrister Adams, let's go back to as the last information that is made available by UNDP and UNESCO. We have at the moment 18.4 million adult school children in Nigeria, and 1 out of every 5 adult school child in the world is a Nigerian. And then if you look at the breakdown, if you look at the concentration of these statistics and this number, it is focused on one region. And this region had over time enjoyed the patronage of government in our own effort to make sure that people get educated, so that we can take away the number of these out of school children that we have on the street. Some of them have been exposed to some ridiculous, dehumanizing situations. Some of them have been exposed and used in child labor. Some of them have been used in the days of suicide bombing. That's the 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016. You see child bombers, getting bombs strapped on them and told them to walk into the mosque, into the market, and suicide bombing and all of that. We see all of these instances. Some of them have been used as housemaid, underage labor, forced labor. Some of them are beggars. Some of them have been kidnapped, sold. They've been exposed to some of the most ridiculous situation you can imagine. If truly the government is intentional about fixing the challenge of out of school children, how much of a setback is this? Now, a lot of people, you wake me up in the morning, you tell me that, come and collect food if you come to school. You give me food in the morning, you give me food in the night. You give me food in the morning, you give me food in the evening. I feel like, okay, I'm out of the streets, I'm somewhere, and I'm getting fed. But then for 5 straight weeks, where you are taking me to, you've taken that away from me. Is that not enough for me to go back to the street by Adams? Is 5 weeks not enough time for me to go into child labor, or for me to get picked up by someone somewhere because I'm no longer going to school? How much of a major backward step is this particular issue to the fight against out of school children, especially in the northern part of the country? You also alluded to the fact that, by the way, we have 19 northern states in Nigeria, by Adams, and just 4 actually keyed it into this decision to close the schools down for all of this time. How much of a setback is this to Nigeria, the federal government's push for quality education and inclusive education in the north?
Yes, a lot of disadvantage to that particular pronouncement. That policy is going to affect the whole system. How? One is that you see that it may even lead to issue of high rates of criminality around the environment. Those people that you have asked them to stay back at home for the next 5 weeks, they may go into criminal acts. Prostitution, some other people may go into prostitution, theft, stealing, and then you see them in terrible situation, because these people are used to the spirit of you feeding them to go to school on a daily basis, and you know that the foundation is already faulty because of the fact that the intention is not even there from the beginning for them to go to school. So by all standard, and then you stop them, a lot of them will delve into series of bad gang and start committing crime. The rates of crime will skyrocket around the environment, prostitution, like I said, and a lot of terrible situation. And then apart from that, it will affect the whole academic curriculum of those schools in the state, and it will affect the orientation, the person, those kids, and everything. And more so that the plan for that semester have been altered, whether we like it or not. Out of 4 months, 1 month is gone. How do you expect those people to marry it and correlate the whole entire system in interest? I do not agree with that. Whether we like it or not is there is no need, there is no justification. It's not everything that will be. If you look at what you initially read out as to the exception to what is the genesis behind that decision that you say that you stay back at home, I literally do not agree with that. So for me, I think it's 99% setback, and I don't know what the politicians will stand to gain from this. Is it that they want them to stay back at home, and then the rate of criminality and theft will increase, and then more money will be pumped to their industry in such a way that they can milk it to their credit the first time it came to power. And then we are seeing is the banana republics setting. Some people don't have respect for rule of law. Some people don't have respect for constituted authority. Illegality on a daily basis. They are hiding under the osmosis of tribalism to take advantage of people. If you are out there today, open your eye, have a rethink, and don't allow anybody to buy your mindset or your brain. So you'll be fighting over what the religion even prohibits from the beginning. We just read out the exception to who cannot fast under Islamic law right now, and a child is not inclusive. How do you I'm saying it again, and I will continue to say it. The decision does not even have an Islamic backing from the beginning. So it's a man that is on the frolic on his own. So Nigerians, yes. So somebody started. This is how bad things fly with time. Somebody started is the chief architect of this bad decision, and then other people follow. Like they are the same monkeys, and then they frolic together. But maybe to use that word, I'm sorry, it may hurt them, but we need to attack them, and then this is a time to give accountability.
It's quite unfortunate, and I was having a conversation with Said Fuad, I think about a month ago, when the issue of maybe Sharia courts was about to, do set up in the southwest, and then people were raging against it. The Aᴛᴛᴏ for Yoruba. Islam is a religion of peace, and I totally agree with that. By the way, my best friend I'm always in their family house, so I have nothing against that religion. It's a beautiful religion. It's a religion. The banks in all of these 4 northern states are still operational. The inland revenue services of these 4 states are still operational. That means they are still collecting work despite the fast. Hospitals are opened. During the mind, I'm going to read all of these messages. Probably is good. I don't want to attach religion coloration to this. It is just something announced that for the Kano of all places. The first time I went to Kano was by road. So I came in through Bauchi, through Jos Bauchi axis. So when I got to Tᴜnūwada is like one of the largest local government in Kano. It's about 4 hours from Tᴜnūwada to Kano Municipal. Tᴜnūwada is where Dangote tomato paste factory is. One of the largest rice mill also in the north is in Tᴜnūwada local government. And so when I got to Tᴜnūwada, when we were going, the car I entered was a public transport, and for every prayer time, the car stops. No, even if it take 30 minutes, they come back, the journey continues. By 4 o'clock, he did the same thing. And so I told the person I was supposed to pick me up at the park, like, oh, this one. But why can't we apply the same thing in respecting other people's religion, Barrister Damsata? Why do we have to make a big deal of a normal situation? The holy month of Ramadan is for purification, is for love, is for sober reflection. But why are we having this controversial conversation on this very important period? Is this a decoy, or you think there's beyond the religion coloration, are there political undertones to this decision?
I have said it, and I'm not hiding it. It's a political intent. The politicians are behind all. Look at somebody started how bad this decision is. He sat down. He conceived this idea. Somebody must have sold this idea to him. Like you said, he sat down. We don't have enough on our decks. Let's introduce this. So the school should close down. And then thereafter, the other people, the other neighboring states started copying him. Is that what is worth copying, shutting down Edmorin for? Because, like I said, the intention does not flow with the dictates of what Islam have put on board. The exception, he has failed woefully. He failed to meet up the exception. We have listed about 7 to 8 exceptions on who cannot fast. A woman
with mental illness and the children.
And then an elderly person. But our focus here, brothers, on a child. 11, 2, 3 years or 4 years.
5, 6.
Yes.
I mean, the law says as long as you've not reached puberty, you can't fast.
Conventional law that the law says you attain so, and that's why you see somebody lesser than 15 or 16
getting married.
Yes. So even though under international law system and under international law, I do not want to delve into that. So poverty under Islamic law is different from what is obtainable under the conventional system. However, what is important is that the author of that, the sitting governors for those 5 states have failed to meet up the condition precedent or what the Islamic law have put on board. So I'm not hiding it. It's not a matter of whether or not. It's just that they are taking advantage of the people. Is whoever that allow them to take advantage of them, because I'm bigger than them now. You can't take advantage of me because I know my left and right. I know what the constitution say. I know what the faith say. So it's a personal something. It's a covenant between you and God, not you going out to be disturbing other people whilst in the course of practicing yours. Whereas if others in the same vein decide to say, oh, you are taking this step, this and that, and then you see that, you can see, like you said, we must give room for religious tolerance. Look at Lagos State now. I love the fact that Lagos State and some other states in the West, they are now giving room for our traditional, what is it called? A religion. Institution. Wherein they have to declare public holidays for and then those people can come out and then make their noise, do their practices and everything. But however, that will not exceed a day. They will not use it to affect another person's business. They will not use it to affect another person's personal lifestyle. You cannot say because they have been declared for us, nobody should move on the road. Although it happens, you can see this thing we are talking is will not come outside.
And it's on certain days.
Yes, they will tell you that the market should be closed. What is happening in the north now is not just narrowed down to the north. Same way, some states, more particularly in Lagos State here and some states in the west, they take decision and say that, oh, today is so day, don't go out. Go out and practice your own religion, and then you leave others to go out for their business. So you must allow religious tolerance. Let us not narrow it down to the north. It's all over the federation. If you go to the east, go to south, there are days they will tell you not to come out. Well, and the constitution say that your freedom of movement must not be restricted.
That was one of the messages that somebody said, that there's been a sit-at-home order in some southeastern states for over 2 years, and we're not talking about it.
You see how people will look at it. People see it from different aspects. Sit at home is something that is forced on people. So you cannot say that it's an illegal thing that government have prohibited. It's not something that is emanating from the government. So, but my point is that in as much as we are discussing the 5 weeks break in the north, we must also look at it that this thing is not just narrowed down to the north. This lawlessness where people take advantage of days of their faith to affect others' business. How can you say that don't go out on so dates? They are doing a particular some religious faith. They are doing this and that in Lagos State. Don't go to Computer Village. A woman should not come out. Is that not the constitution say that on no occasion should your right to move freely be curtailed? So why are you telling me not to go out? Some people will argue like that, and it's true. You cannot, because you are also stopping my own religion.
Pastor Adams, we have loads of messages to read already, and some very important, some very interesting takes, on this particular issue that we're talking about. I'm seeing them already, but it's okay. I will take all of that, and like I said at the start of this program, this is not in any way intended to, blacklist any religion or attack any region of this country. It is just the conversation that we're facing on the show today, and we've been looking at the legality of state religion adoption, and we're focused on shutting down schools during Ramadan in Bauchi, in Kebbi, in Kano, and in Katsina State. So let me allow you join the conversation. 0913-600-0410. My guest on the show today has been Barrister Adams Atta. Is a legal practitioner, human resource manager, and is a public affairs analyst. And we've looked at the constitutional provision to rights to education. We've looked at the section of the Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended, section 14, section 18, subsection 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've also looked at the Child Right Act, section 15 of it, that talks about freedom of education, guaranteed freedom of education. But hey, let me have your thoughts. We'll also pick your messages on facebook.com/mainland98.3 FM. We'll also read your messages on YouTube if you're watching. We're streaming live. 0913-600-0410. Let me have your thoughts, and I'll also read your messages. Hello, Foma. You're welcome.
I greet your guest.
Thank you, sir.
Looking at the topic you are treating this evening, do you know what came my mind up by me?
Please talk to us.
One of the only speaker we have in the Senate should be able to talk now. You should know the person. From the Borno State, what is his name, sir? Help me with his name.
That's the senator from Borno State.
Yes, there always be a voice that,
Is he in Doma?
Yes, Senator Alin Dume.
Thank you very much. Dume should come out and talk now. These are commercial started though. But thank God that thing will no fly up by any. Because it will no fly. So
are you sure? The commissioner for education in Bauchi State had released a statement saying that the break that will run from 1st of March to 15th of April had already been included in the educational calendar long before now.
Okay, let's just wait for a period of time. If they valued education for their children, they won't take that step. Now, see what you analyze. The banking are working. The civil servants, the states are working. Those people employ labor. Are they not going to office? Why that the students that will be the future of tomorrow are they punishing? So let's see what will happen at the end of the. Okay, before we drop my call,
please,
can you do this favor for me tomorrow? Maybe your guest also may contribute. I want you to ask word for me. What is the relationship between Donald Trump and the Russian president? Immediately that Donald Trump won the election, Putin said that it is ready to talk with Donald Trump. In all the EU people.
Ufoma, please, let's talk to other people. Please, let's stay within the 1 minute. Please, I beg you. Hello, good evening, Mr. Joshua.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Good afternoon.
Yes, you are welcome. Good afternoon.
Yeah. You know why?
Hello. I can barely hear you. Try and call back 0913-600-0410. Let me pick your calls and I'll read your messages. Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
You're welcome, Mr. Dion.
Good evening.
Yes, good evening.
Yeah, you have I'm calling from Songwater.
You're welcome.
I've had all the analysis and the knowledge I have of the Constitution means those governors, they're acting against the oath they took. So on that regard, what do you think the NBA should do? If Christian Association of Nigeria does not take a step, I think this is why we have NBA.
That's the Nigerian Bar Association.
What is stopping the headquarters of your bar association? What can you use to get a court process? Take them to court. whether it is deterrent for future governments to just take unilateral decision against the constitution. Things I challenge the MP at your headquarters to start that case tomorrow. Please.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Let me also read some of the messages you have. Keep your calls coming in 0913-600-0410. Mr. Kayode, you're welcome to the show. It's been a few days. Trust you are good. Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Can you hear me now?
Hello?
I'm hearing you. Go on.
Network is going to rob me.
Go on. I can hear you. I can hear you, Mr. Kayode. Go on.
Okay, good evening. Yes, just got in 5 minutes ago and I have an incline of what the discussion is. I think, for me, I don't think there's really much wrong with it, but it's poorly presented and it's poorly executed. Because for me, I don't know what the law says when it comes to how well state governors can decide how things work in their state. Probably my understanding of this is that we are using the break after the schooling calendar per term to cover up for the Ramadan period. So, for example, if you are doing your second term and you have probably 5 weeks of holiday, out of it you're taking 4 weeks to cover for the Ramadan. So what it then means that is what is best for their state, they can run that. But the challenge with all of these things is that we are beginning to look at it from two major religions. Yes, two major religions at par, probably looking at it that they are going against themselves and all that. But I've had that discussion. I've told people that as much as you have public holidays for Christians, so that you also have for Muslims. So basically, governors are
Mr. Kayode.
Yes, I'm listening.
There are going to be public holidays for the longest, the main Ramadan, at the main there'll be holiday for the break of the Ramadan when the Ramadan ends in a month's time, and there's also going to be public holiday for the longer celebration later in the year. Yes. And so that does the Christians too also enjoy that in both sides of it, for Lent and for probably Christmas. And even for Easter as well. For Easter. So that's exactly what we're saying, that the concern is not those public holidays. I mean, we are used to public holidays, and I would always say this: Nigerians really love public holidays, notwithstanding how much billions of naira we lose each time we shut down the economy. But it's okay. We're talking about taking a whole 5 weeks off the. And that's why I gave my point at saying that extra period of holidays is what they have used to cover for the Ramadan period. So it's not really going to disrupt the school calendar per se. Ooh. I hope you can call back if you can, but of course your message is very, very clear. Don Peters is texting us from Osaka in Japan, and he says, "Good day to you and your guest, Osaka, Japan. I'm Don Peters from Japan. It's very unfortunate the kind of news you hear from this country. In Japan, education skills is priority for the Japanese people and their government, but in Nigeria it is unfortunate. 5 weeks holiday because of religious activities, which is a personal thing, and Nigerians understand this. Take away education from the people and you've destroyed the next. Join their own education, but they are stopping your own children from being educated, and some people will still support them in the name of party politics. They are destroying the future of you and your child." Okay, Kayode from Ikotin is texting as well. He says, "Good day to you and the honorable guest. It's quite an unfortunate event that the current pronouncement of the 5 northern states to shut down school was the same way Boko Haram started and escalated beyond redemption. Seems like there's something cooking for the next political dispensation." Okay, thank you very much. Joshua is also texting and he says, "Nigeria is full of comedy. Can the Federal Minister of Education override the decision of the State Ministry of Education? Secondly, where are the human rights crusaders? The North came with Sharia during the OBJ era. Boko Haram insurgency came during Jonathan. Now another Southern is in government, and the primitive school closure due to Ramadan fast for 36 days. This is abnormal." That is Joshua texting. Thank you very much. This one says, "I'm Chris from Magboro. It's highly unfortunate that education seems not to be given priority in the state in the north, and have closed schools for 5 whole weeks on account of Ramadan fasting. What has the closure of school got to do with Ramadan? who says the children cannot be made to close early from school if they must give more time to practice their religion? And why should Christian children be affected because of Ramadan? Is there any other time in the history of the core Islamic countries where they declare public holiday for 5 weeks because of Ramadan? This reckless impunity must stop. We already have enough out of school children in the country. These northern governors should not worsen the situation. That is Chris from Magboro. Okay. Our first thoughts from Ikorodu says, good evening. Nice conversation you're having on the show today. God bless your guest. Nigeria is a secular state, and everybody must respect that. So what if Lagos also decide to close down schools for 5 weeks during the Lent period? The people in the north also need to realize that they have to allow their children to get liberated, and education is the key to that. Thank you very much, Festus, for your message. Hello, good evening. Hello.
Hello, Mr. President.
You're welcome. Can you be audible a bit, please?
Good evening. My name is Tom.
I'm struggling to hear you.
Hello?
Okay, I think you're clearer now.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, Mr. Tᴜɪ̀ᴜ and the barrister, I think we need to bring back one of the former presidents to govern us in this country. That is, I think, the former president of Obasanjo. Because if you look at history of this country, these are how some things started in this country much more in some states until it now become a bigger issue. You understand? We can never allow some certain things to happen. And I don't know what the presidency is saying about this, and the Ministry of Education is saying about this. It shouldn't be allowed to start, even at all, to even start. You understand? It should stop. It should be made to stop. Because this is how it will start. This is how it will start. Before you know it, he has escalated, and many things will now fall under it. So please, let's get information right and pass your message that this should not continue. Please, it should stop.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate your call. Let me quickly touch Facebook. Robert Patrick on Facebook says, it is very bad for children to be denied the right to education because of Muslim fasting. I urge the northern governors that are denying these children to also reverse it. John Bernard, who he says, I was born and I grew up in Kano. During the Ramadan, the military government then only adjusted the closing time of schools. They never shut down schools. What these northern governors are doing is just to use religion to control the mindset of the ignorant people. Are they telling us that St. Thomas and St. Louis Secondary School, which are owned by the Catholics, should also be shut down because of Ramadan? These people should stop using religion to create problem in a secular country like Nigeria. Thank you very much, John Bernardo here on Facebook. Atonda Kayode Samuel says, there is a need to get the real truth about this matter than just taking it with levity. What about the other religion who are not fasting? Okay. Reverend Solomon Jason Somi said, it's unfortunate that some of the politicians in the northern region are just using religion to cause disunity in the north. They're making the northern region to live by this past glory as far as unity in the northern region is concerned. I am a northerner from Kogi State. Okay. John Bernardo, he says, okay, I even spent 1 year in that that local government you were talking about, and that local government has a large number of indigenous Christians. What happens to their education now? Olufemi Olayinka Ajayi says, please, what would be the fate of those that would write WAEC and NECO examination? Femi Ajayi from Yanoyesi Ota. Olufemi Olayinka Ajayi says, some of all these politicians in those states, their children are studying abroad. And so, may God help us. You and your guests have done justice to this issue on ground. Please help us ask those state governors to ask everyone in their state, including workers, to also stay at home because of prayer and fasting. This is how they use religion to divide us in this country. I thank God for the guests. It has hurt nobody in his analysis. Okay. Thank you very much. God bless my country and God give us good leaders. Basil Chika says, with the scenario stopping children from going to school because of Ramadan is a deliberate attempt to stop the children of the poor from getting education and enlightening them, while the children of the elite are somewhere else attending classes. It saddens what is coming out from the north. That's Chika Bendi from Trade Fair. Let me pick some calls. Prince Rice is talking to us. Hello, Prince Wise.
Can you hear me?
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Thank you very much. One is very clear. 5 weeks. And even though I will just beg you, So that 5 state governor, I would like to invite some of the commissioners to your studio. It can be through phone call. To just throw a question to them. Can work wait for them? Can NECO wait for them? Can they adjust their tax table for them because they missed 5 weeks? This is a big question for them, because education is right. Those who distract their children from going to school, they are enemy of those children. 5 weeks is not just 5 days. So I will beg you, Mr. Fayemi, Mr. Trust me, no. The 5 commissioner for education in that state, I want you to invite some of them to your studio. Can you hear me very well?
I'm with you.
Please do that, because it's a slap. Education is right. And the moment you are doing this, you want them to stay at home, doing what? Doing nothing.
Thank you, Prince Wise.
I'm not feeling happy because
please feel happy. I mean, it's governance, and okay. Yusuf is texting, and it says your guest is not deep rooted in Islam. He's just speaking from the periphery. Okay, we're not even discussing this issue from the Islamic point of view. We're looking at it from the legal interpretation of it. And you went on to say that, can you hold this discourse in the north? Okay. A child of 2 years is not expected to be in school. Neither a child of 2 years is meant to fast. What do you see of strike that lasts more than 9 months in this country? The other faiths in okay, I didn't get a part of your message, but I think you said something like in Iṣẹ́rí, virtually every fortnight there's sometimes unannounced, and it's so scary, especially when you are coming back from work. Okay, Mr. Yusuf, I got your point very well. This one says, my name is Sheol from Maryland. The funny part is that some of the children of these governors are not schooling in Nigeria. Some of them are schooling in countries where nobody cares about religion, whether there's fasting or whether there's Ramadan or not. Their kids are feeding on taxpayers' monies and are getting quality education in other countries, but they are shutting down the future of the poor people in their state. May Nigeria progress. Thank you very much, Sheol from Ikorodu. Mr. Gege Joshua, thank you for calling back. I think the network wasn't clear the other time.
Yes. Ordinarily, this is not something that ought to be happening in our environment. Then we just have to understand the kind of country we are living in. You know, when you talk now, they will feel like we will take it to another level. So I think it would be reasonable if the governors, instead of having this kind of 5 weeks holiday, and again, maybe when they after their exams, they still going on another holiday. And I think instead of going on another holiday, they can just make it another continuous thing.
So they know that they've enjoyed their holiday already during the Ramadan. Okay.
Okay. Those two do. And again, when it comes to all those writing wise, maybe common entrance or jump and all that, they can be an exception for them. So I really hope that they have a solution for them. Because we are the kind of country we are living in. You know, I saw publication and all that. You know, it will now be like a religion.
It's a religion war.
Yeah, another war. I don't want problem in this country. If they so decide that this is what we want for our people, and the people who they've given this kind of holiday, they are not complaining.
True.
I see no reason why I should be crying here in Lagos. I have not even seen any protest for now. No protest. Or have you seen any?
I'm not sure if it's okay. Let me just leave your thought. But by Stardom, I know you want to respond to this one, some of the issues raised, but let me still go to Facebook. Kule Carried on Facebook says, if the state government says it to use the break of 4 to 5 weeks after a term for Ramadan break to allow the faithful, would that be said to be wrong when it doesn't disrupt the normal schooling calendar? If the House of Assembly passes a law on it, then it becomes acceptable. It is more about how well it is streamlined to ensure that no student is losing any learning during this period. Okay, thank you very much. Lasisi Yusuf Afolabi says there must be security threats known to them. If an insecurity linger more than 40 okay, let's just stick to the conversation of the show today. More calls. I think this should be the last. We need to wrap up. Hello, good evening.
Hello. Good evening.
You're welcome.
I like you so bad. I've been trying to use this.
The line have been busy. I understand. Thank you for coming through.
Okay. Let's straight to the point. Look, I'm a Muslim. In Islam give us, and Quran give us opportunities to seek for knowledge. We're in fasting. I'm telling you the fundamental truth of Islam. But the plot is this. It looks like the elders in the north, they are blindfolding the people in the north, on this issue of Islam. And that is why, to me, that is why you are enslaving them. And that's why you see Al-Majiri using Islam to cover their face, which is against the Quran. You understand? But by and large, let me tell you, in the issue of the north, this is the first time I will hear some governors give a kind of holiday for Ramadan. Kwaso, is a governor in Kano. When he doing a Senate, did he do that? Ganduje, did he do that? With the blessed memory of Alhaji Rimi, did he do that? You understand? So, that is why I said, these people, they are using Islam to blindfold the people in the north. And that is why, let me tell you what is happening. That is why some people is clamoring for restructuring. Because where some people is not having a freedom of liberty to live, that is why the people is clamoring for they want to leave this country. It's a treasure. You see, the government will see to this issue because it's going to have a kind of repercussion. Have a nice day.
Thank you very much for joining the conversation. Well, by 5:30, there's going to be Mainland FM Sunset News. That will be from 5:30 to about 5:45. And then by 6 o'clock, I would also come back to take you through the world of sports. The UEFA Champions League returns, and this announcement does not involve Chelsea and Manchester United. They should wait till Thursday where their clubs will be playing. But big games to look out for tonight in the UEFA Champions League. Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid. It's a Madrid derby for the round of 16. There's also Arsenal traveling away to PSV. All of that will be by 6 o'clock. Barrister Adams, a lot has been said on this conversation, and just how we started out, we didn't want it to have any religious coloration. But, it's been established. The Commissioner for Education in Bauchi State had released a statement. My colleague just forwarded it to me just a few minutes ago. Has this come to stay? Is this a policy that we need to, at the end of the day, just get used to, that during the Ramadan, schools would have to close down?
Well, this is his last, the governor of Bauchi State. I'm very sure that this is his last tenure.
This is the first of the governor of Kano.
I do not know, but the voice of the people is the voice of justice. So as Nigerians don't stay back and we continue to criticize these policies because freedom is not given voluntarily, no amount of lawlessness should be accommodated. Because they are in power today, it can be the other way around tomorrow. So my point is very clear. You should know that the provisions of the Constitution must be obeyed. They are not mere cosmetics, like I said, and I'm saying it again, and I will continue to say it. The welfareism of a child and the primary responsibility to ensure that the child goes to school is recognized in the Constitution, and it's incumbent on the government to ensure that these provisions of the Constitution are complied with. So, in very simple terms, practice your religion, let others practice theirs, so that you not do anything that will affect their own rights, because you know that these same people can reciprocate and it will lead to lawlessness and anarchy. But we don't pray for that. So we must stay strictly to our religion and practice the dictates of what our faith is all about, not hiding under the osmosis of political undertone or selfish interests like how our politicians are operating right now. That's my closing word.
Thank you so much, Barrister Adams. It's always an amazing time when you join us on the show every last and first Tuesday of every month. Today on the show, we've looked at the issue of adopting state religion on the back of the governments of Katsina, Kebbi, Bauchi, and Kano are closing down schools for 5 weeks because of the holy month of Ramadan. Like I said, I like the fact that the program went peaceful because our conversations like this could be extremely sensitive. John Bernardo is responding to Clinical this message on Facebook, and he says, "What about the non-Muslim in those schools, including private schools? Please, we should be reasonable sometimes and allow peace to reign." Michael says, "When we say politicians are using religion to divide the people, we started with Sharia, but was rejected in the West. Now they are closing schools because of Ramadan in the secular countries. This is the first time the Muslims will be observing Ramadan period. For crying out loud, this is a region that has always been a setback in education due to insecurity. I hope the governors would have a rethink and revert their decisions because WAEC and NECO would not conduct special exams for them. Ọlọ́run Agbawa, God bless Nigeria." Temitope not from Ijagemo community, and I say God bless you too. That's about the size of the package on the show today. Thank you very much, Barrister Adams Atta. Is a public affairs analyst, human resource manager, and of course, is a legal practitioner. My name is Oᴑᴜ Akíndé, and the program we just listened to is The Situation Room every Monday to Friday from 4 to 5:30 p.m. Tomorrow by 1 o'clock, I would come back here for midweek politics. Boy, oh boy, we've got so much to discuss on that tomorrow. Don't miss it. 1 to 3 p.m. Side Fwan and Victor Achibong would be joining me on that show. So tomorrow 4 p.m. Sage Babalola will be here, and she's got something on International Women's Day as we continue to celebrate International Women's Day week on Milan 98.3 FM with the theme Accelerate Action. Don't forget, you can go on our social media pages and drop the picture of the loving woman in your life and drop your message. We'll certainly reach out to them on your behalf. Stay safe and keep your dialogue only on Milan 98.3 FM. I will be back by 6 o'clock for Sports Quiz, but before then, stick around for Sunset News on Milan 98.3 FM. Have a beautiful evening.